But having said that, I'll take the word mobility guy, I suppose.
Well, I mean, I think sometimes people get, casted into a specific category. Like, I don't necessarily like being called a celebrity trainer. I mean, people call me that. I think it's
You
ridiculous.
don't like being called a celebrity trainer?
No, it's
I would
ridiculous.
take
Come
that shit
on.
over mobility guy.
Well, no, but seriously, I mean, I got to the point where I just gave up. I'm like, I can't fight this anymore. Like, it is what it is. People see me with celebs and they're like, "You're just a celebrity trainer." I'm like, sure. Like,
No.
whatever. Like, it is what it is. You just got to sometimes play into it. I mean, I don't know. Are you ever going to break out of that, or is it something where people? I mean, General Pop, or they're going to look at you and they're going to refer to you as the mobility guy. Not
Yeah, I
necessarily
mean,
there.
yeah. General Pop. I mean, there's one thing, General Pop, what they think, and then there's the
The
truth of
coaches,
the the coaches, which is really who I'm. I usually teach coaches to teach others, right?
right?
So to those people, I find it's almost detrimental when they come into a seminar because they think that automatically I'm going to get up and start doing some fucking creepy backwards bending shit all of a sudden.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like
You leave that to Dewey.
I leave that to Dewey. As I bring circus freaks with me. But yeah, but that's the assumption. But I mean, I almost enjoy it as well because 5 minutes in, when they realize that there's a crazy person in front of them that's just rattling off a bunch of shit about everything having to do with the human body, and then they start to realize very quickly that we're systematically trying to find problems with the internal environment of our clients, and then we're trying to correct those problems. And the problem with mobility is that people always assume that mobility is like wonky or loosey goosey. That's kind of like the link term. So as soon as you tell someone I want to make them mobile, all of a sudden you want to make them loose and sloppy and shitty. And that just happened recently, actually, with somebody online was talking about some spine stuff. And this is where it gets really, really weird, right? And I'm not going to mention names, but when you're getting jabbed, and someone was pretty much saying, I don't know why you would ever want to increase the mobility of a spine. And I was like, wait a minute. Let's just slow down. Because when you're talking about a spine, right, you're talking about segments that have millimeters of motion at best. So the cumulative effect of millimeters here and millimeters here and millimeters here is the external movable spine that we all see, right? But the idea that you're increasing mobility in the spine, like you're taking one segment and you're making it wonky, is crazy, right? The spine only moves in millimeters. So the idea that someone would say that trying to maintain those millimeters is somehow a bad idea is the opposite kind of thinking, right? It's like when people get into this idea where some joints should be mobile and some joints should be stable, which really makes no sense from an evolutionary standpoint, right? The human body, the nervous system itself only exists for the purpose of creating complex adaptable movements so that someone can use their internal environment to, execute tasks in their external environment. That's the point of it. So the idea of being able to move is the point. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But if something has to be mobile, it has to be both, right? It has to be, you need the ability to move or you can't do any work. And then you have to control that movement at the same time. So it's one and the same. When I say increased mobility, I also mean increased stability. It's not like it's one thing's different than the other. It's just, does the joint work or not?
Well, I think you were the one who taught me that. I mean, or maybe you taught me how to verbalize it that way because I think you spoke about someone who was incredibly flexible,
Mhm.
and then just not having the control. So I mean, I remember when I was younger, a young coach, he was always like, "Oh, we have to improve flexibility. We have to improve flexibility."
Mhm.
And I think you were
Yeah.
the one who used the dancer analogy of someone who's able to just kind of hold their legs straight up behind
Mhm.
their ear.
Yeah.
And is that good enough? And why are these people always trying to stretch? Why are they always feeling uncomfortable? Why is someone who can just drop into a full split or put their leg behind their head just feel like that they always have this need to stretch?
Isn't that
So
strange, right? Some
I
of the
think it
most
is.
flexible people I notice at seminars, they usually sit at the front and they'll often sit there in a full split while I'm trying to teach.
They're just showing off.
I don't know if they're,
Seriously, they do that?
oh yeah, pretty crazy. Or they
That's
just
crazy.
feel tight. I mean, I find that a lot of people who are generally bendable often feel tight because the question of tight is really a decision by your nervous system, right? And the idea of tight versus non-tight doesn't have to do with external global ranges of motion as much as it has to do with how easily those ranges of motion are achieved.